Hello everybody, Lance here from the Rocky Mountain Life channel. Today, this video is going to try and accomplish two things. Doing an audio test. Now, I've watched a lot of other videos and done some reading and things and trying to figure everything out. But I have a DJI Osmo Action and I'm trying to figure out how to set up the microphone and things so that I can motovlog like this and actually have the audio sound halfway decent. I tried one when I was doing a review on the bike, my first impressions video a couple weeks ago, and I had limits of a time getting it to sound right. Put the microphone in the helmet. It didn't seem to matter where I put it in the helmet. It's too close. I'm actually having trouble with the audio quality being overmodulated. Now, I have a DJI Osmo Action. I have the Rode Smart Lav Plus, I think is what it's called, microphone. That came recommended by a couple other people that I saw who motovlog. But I've in my tests around the house, even without wind noise and being outside, I was having issues with me being too loud, the audio being too hot going into the camera. This is going to be a twofold video. We're going to test to see how the bike does in town, being a dirt bike with lights, and just kind of see, what it feels like to ride through the pavement. I'm actually going to the dealership to get some aftermarket parts put on the bike, the ones that I had ordered when I first ordered the bike, but they hadn't come in yet. It's still cold today, but at least the sun is out. I hope I don't freeze to death. But I'm also trying to figure out if I just talk normal, sitting in here on the bike with the visor closed on my helmet, how this audio sounds going directly into the camera. Now when I come home today, after the dealer's done with the bike, I'm actually going to record audio into my cell phone. And that's going to be a little bit different. I know there are a lot of guys who motovlog and they have external audio recorders and then they sync up their audio with the video. I suppose I could do that. I really don't want to if I can help it, simply because I don't want to buy another piece of equipment that I have to haul around with me on the bike. The microphone is the main issue that I'm having here, is trying to get the audio to not be overmodulated and hot. So we're going to test. And then we'll just see. And I might just chat a little bit along the way about my impressions of the motorcycle, some thoughts and things that I was not able to bring out when I was doing my other video because I had done all this chatting while I was riding before, and then I couldn't use the audio. The temptation when you're riding like this, at least for me, talking at the same time, is you want to talk extra loud because you hear all this wind noise, you got bike noise, especially wind today. We got a lot of wind out there. And I honestly have no idea what it's going to sound like in the microphone. And then on the ride home, when I use the phone to record my audio, I'm going to leave the microphone in the same spot. I'm just going to plug it into the phone instead of into the camera. And we'll see if it works any better. My tests inside the house would be shouting in the microphone at close range. Seem to work better with the phone than with the camera. I think it's just something with the way that the DJI Osmo cameras are set up. There's no settings for me to adjust the audio. I can't turn down the audio. So this is the 2021 Beta 500 RRS, and today's ride is going to be all pavement, and that's not what I bought this bike to do. I didn't really want to stay on the pavement. I bought this to be a motorcycle I can ride on the pavement just long enough to get to the dirt roads and the trails. As I said before, because I don't have a pickup truck or a trailer, I can haul this off somewhere else. So I have to ride it to where I'm going. But today, we're just taking it to the dealership. It's a beautiful day visually. As you can see the mountains over there. But it is not warm. It is 38 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, for just being outside, I don't think it would be that cold. But for being on a motorcycle, I think it's bitterly cold. So here we are, 61 miles an hour, the stock gearing on this bike. It comes with a 15-tooth front sprocket installed, but it comes with a 13-tooth front sprocket that you can put on for more off-road usage. Now to me, of course, as I said in my prior video, my last bike was a KLR 650, and I usually kept the stock gearing on the KLR. I did have a different counter sprocket that I had on for a while for more off-road stuff. But I'm used to them being geared taller than this. I guess my point is I haven't really felt like this bike is geared too tall, just with the stock gearing, straight off the, from the factory. But overall, first impressions is the bike certainly is capable of getting around town. It's got the mirrors on it, it's got the lights, it's got the turn signals, everything that you would need to be road legal. I had, people wonder sometimes about the vibrations on these things on the pavement. And this is going to give me a pretty good idea. I really don't find the vibrations bad. I'm doing between 55 and 60 here when we get up to speed. And I really don't feel like the vibrations are bad at all on this thing. This bike is thin, it's narrow, it's lightweight, so the wind will blow you all over the place. Semi-trucks passing you will blow you all around. But, here I am doing 53 miles an hour tooling down this road here in southern Colorado, and it's not uncomfortable. It's really not. It's just not something you'd want to do for a long period of time. There's no windscreen, so you have no wind protection on your chest or in your helmet or anything like that. The mountains look pretty with that little dusting of snow we got on it the day before yesterday. One of the things that I've noticed about this with its weight is it feels totally different going into a corner like that, going into a turn at an intersection than my old KLR did. The KLR, you would kind of have to lean on it just a little bit to get it to turn over. It didn't want to turn quickly. It wasn't like it was super slow, but it just felt totally different. This thing, I just turn the wheel a little bit, shift the weight just a little bit, and that bike just wants to turn. Boom. Now, I've watched other videos of guys riding these 500s, and they're like, the turn in's a little bit slower, and it might be over the 390 or the 350, some of the smaller displacement bikes. That could be true, but to me, it feels awful nimble, and it wants to just turn and corner, just kind of wherever I point it and flick a little weight at it. So I suspect by now I've had a pretty good test of the microphone plugged directly into the DJI Osmo with the microphone here in the front of my helmet. I've got it pointed down in an effort to not point it straight up and right in front of my mouth, but I'm also worried about picking up a lot of wind noise coming in underneath the chin guard on this helmet. Now, one of the things that you can do with beta that I really like, and it was in my first plan of what I was going to do. Things didn't work out that way with timing and with COVID and everything else changing, the timing on delivery of everything. My initial plan was to do a BYOB, that's the build your own beta. And I haven't looked on the website in recent weeks, so I'm not sure, what the current state is of the BYOB. But you can build your own beta, and one of the things that you can do, in addition to a whole bunch of other parts, different skid plates and rims and tires and tubes and different plastics even and decals. There's all kinds of things you can change on these bikes, and order it directly from the factory if you wanted to. One of the main things that I wanted to do was I wanted to change out the springs. Now, I think the stock springs are, they're sort of middle of the road for body weight. I think it's 185 pounds or something like that for rider weight without gear. I am way above that, and one of the things I was going to do is I was going to order springs for this bike that were for my body weight. Well, I ended up not doing that. The wait period to get the BYOB was another month and a half longer than it was to just wait for one to get sent into the dealership. So I went ahead and reserved the first one to come into the dealership, and then I had them do a few little of the aftermarket things that I talked about briefly in my first impressions video. But I wanted to give this bike a little bit of time on the stock springs. Well, this bike so far, and I haven't taken on anything super rough yet, but even with the stock springs that are meant to be underneath a rider that's a little bit lighter than me, I do not feel like there's really going to be much of an issue for the way I'm going to use this bike. And I'm actually kind of glad I didn't pay the extra money for the springs, for the stiffer springs. Because one thing, if you do the BYOB and let's say you order a different part for your bike that it doesn't come with, or you upgrade it or something like that, for a lot of those parts, Beta just simply won't put it on the bike, and they put yours on there. So whatever cost that initial original part was going to be, they take off the bike, and then they just charge you whatever the new one is. Well, there are some things, springs are one of them, that they just don't, they'll send your bike to you with the new springs in it that you ordered, but they will charge you for the OEM springs, the original springs as well, because they can't just have a warehouse full of OEM springs sitting around. So they send them to you. So you end up getting two sets of springs if you build your own Beta. So you pay for two sets of springs, and they're about $180, I think, or 168, something like that. So I'm kind of glad at this point that I did not pay for that. I have not adjusted anything on these shocks yet. I haven't set the sag. Wanted to ride it a little bit and get it broke in and get the seals all warmed up and everything in these forks and whatnot before I start messing with it. And I will continue to talk a little bit about that as time goes on, particularly as I get it back out off-road and things of that nature. So, but if somebody was kind of on the fence on whether or not they wanted to order new springs, say you're a little bit bigger guy like I am, 6'1", 205 pounds, and you're concerned about the springs, being rated for 185, and you want to get stiffer springs. Well, if you're on the fence about that and you're not certain, I would suggest no. Do not upgrade the springs. You can always do it later. That's the thing about it. You can always upgrade them later. Now, if you're a hair scrambler, you go out and you race these things, and that's the purpose of your bike, is you're going to race it, you're going to push it hard, and you're testing those springs all the time, yeah, you probably would. But I'm just a regular old guy. Don't race, not a racer. I don't have those kinds of skills. I think I would just crash a lot, and I would be slow because I wouldn't want to crash a lot. So now we're recording into the phone. Well, when I did some testing the other night in my house with the microphone with the helmet and everything, the phone didn't record as hot as the camera, so things are not as overmodulated. So we'll see.
Well, despite my testing that I had done the night before here in the house, I actually learned that the audio recording directly into the telephone is worse than when I had the mic plugged directly into the camera. which surprised me because that was not the case doing it here at the house. But, you know, you just never know. You start getting wind noise and all these other things in there. So I'm not going to burden you with that horrible audio on the way home. I was going into a headwind on the way home, and it got worse, particularly as I got up at the higher speeds on the bigger roads, and it was just unusable stuff. So what I've done so far is I have ordered some dead cat fluffy muff thingies to cover up my little microphone and see if that helps, because a lot of the big problem is it catches so much wind noise. And I'm going to do some more testing, and we'll see how it goes. But one of the things I did do here when I got back to the house is I made a little short video about the changes that I had done at the dealership on this trip. So I wanted to go ahead and skip to that and show you what I had put on the bike. Okay guys, so now that I'm back in the garage, let me show you what I had the dealership do today. First and foremost is I had radiator guards put on. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but up here is a brace, and it looks like they've got some aluminum braces that go across on the bottom as well. I thought they came with like screen thingies on the front here, but I think that's actually the Beta brand. If you'd ordered them from Beta, which I did not do. I just got these from the dealership. But really that bar right there and that bar on the bottom is really what I wanted it to be. Crush resistance. The other thing that I got today is this. This is a TMD skid plate, and it is thicker than what the original one is, and it gives a little bit more side protection right here, which I really liked as well. And if you come down here, it's got linkage protection, and I really like that. Not because I plan on doing a bunch of hard enduro stuff, but in case you do go over a log or a big rock or something like that, don't want to be bashing your linkage on the ground. And the other thing that I had them do is they installed underneath the seat just some wiring. I guess I could pull this off really fast and show you. One of the things that's cool about these Betas is this thing pops off right here. Pop your seat. Look, I'm doing it one-handed and holding on to the camera with the other hand. But they put in a Y connector for me down here underneath the seat. And I have a USB adapter, and I'm going to figure out a way to run a cable from up here where my phone is, run my cable down, run it through underneath the shroud and whatnot, get it back in here, and I can actually charge my cell phone with that. Plus, I also have a battery tender that I can use for these winter months. This is sort of a follow-up to the first impressions video that I did. Really like the Beta so far. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and it's got lots of zip and power to it. And I will be making more content and videos as I get it out in the woods and actually use it for what I intended it for. And I will bring those to you as I get them up. So appreciate you sticking around, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.